Hello everybody, what we are looking at here is a Hillman Avenger. I bet that's considered a really rubbish joke and nobody's laughing at that. I don't mind, I'm leaving it in. So what do we think of new American cars like this? I mean, it's not that new, it's a 59 plate, but it's newer than what we consider American cars to actually be. Still looks quite American, looks incredibly big actually. And look at that front bumper, it's like got a massive chin on it. It's like a proper American hero by the looks of it. You know the American children's cartoon called American Dad? That's what that looks like to me. Stan's massive manly chin. It's quite cool. It's also slightly vulgar.
Would you?
But there's absolutely no denying that this is a rather purposeful looking car. And this here, what would you call that? A kind of a swoopy line. If this wasn't me, but someone like, you know, Mr. Furious Driving, he would actually just give the proper name for that there. What they actually call it, that kind of shoulder thing. It's got another name, but I can't think of what it's called, and I'm not going to go looking it up. You can see what I mean. That is reminiscent of the 1960s muscle cars, isn't it? And the more I look at it, the more I don't think it works on a four-door car. I think that should be on a coupe, a big coupe with a door to about there and then a tiny kind of quarter window. It's that bit that does it. This here. Yeah. At least when you walk around it, it does all look like it's been designed by, you know, the same person and not a team of people. But that's really stupid because I bet it was designed by a team of people rather than one man with some good idea. See, that's the problem with the way I do things. I don't do any research. I just look at the car and I tell you what I think. No going on Wikipedia, no time. No time for any of that stuff. I didn't even realise I was going to be doing this review. There's my excuse. I hope it works. Wow, what if that really won't cut it? I tell you what, to save you the effort of going on Wikipedia to find out all of the details, let's just screenshot a few bits. Right, I'm really bored of that now. Now, as we open up the door to this car, oh, did you see that there? I pressed that against there like that, as if it was a Rover 45 to make sure that didn't come off. As we open up the door, we can see it is, well, leather and plastic. Yes, plastic. If you know your cars, you may recognise the kind of finish on there, that kind of look. It looks almost like it's straight out of a Nissan Micra K12. This is exactly the same. The switches look the same. Even that aluminium pretend look thing there looks like Nissan Micra. Inside the Dodge, it is big, but it's not quite as big as I was expecting. It's quite wide, but it's not quite as wide as I was expecting. So bits of things like that lift up, as you'd expect, and a cup holder and a dashboard with a display that I haven't looked at yet, and vents and clocks and all the kind of things that you normally find in a car. And glove boxes. I won't open that one, but this one, I did notice that one. It's not the best quality going. Unlike being sat in a Rover though, at least the headlining is intact. It's not all drooping down on me or anything. Let's try the door shut sounds. That one's not too bad. That sounds a bit like a Vauxhall. What you're probably most interested in next is if I can climb into the boot. Might be able to, but it's full of stuff in there, so let's not look. If you look at this at a certain angle, it looks slightly like an Astra. But these wheels are huge. But they're not huge, they're only 18-inch, but they just look bigger than what they really are. I am somewhat short of time today, but I'm going to take it for a little spin anyway. See what it's like. Oh, right, the ignition's in the wrong side. It's almost like it's a Saab. It's not a Saab, I know that. Maybe what you want. Hey, something's just fallen off. I think around the. That's just fallen off around the ignition. If you're going to put your foot on it, I don't know what's going on with it. How does it work? That's it. Ah, there we go. Finally. I don't know what I was doing wrong with it in the first place, but something wasn't working. Right, so now the engine's on. I can see the display. I can see better how whether these work. They're quite a nice wheel on those actually. Yeah, quite nice tactile feel. Heated seats. Might as well see if they work, hadn't I? And not much diesel in it. Oh, yes it is. It's diesel. In fact, according to that, there's no diesel in it. Has it got parking sensors? Yes, it has. That's good because there's a lot of room to get out of there. Steering's nice and light. The car looks quite big, but I suspect it's one of those that's going to be quite small to drive. I could do with. Right, what's up? It's binging at me again. It keeps on making binging noises everywhere, and I don't know why. Well, the heated seat's working nicely now, so that's something. But the battery light's on, the airbag light's on, the fuel light's on, and another light's on, and it's also telling me the tyre pressures are low. That's quite a lot of information to ignore. Well, the heated seat's not quite as hot as I was expecting. I think it's gone off now actually. Oh yeah, it will have done because I stalled it, didn't I? But if I make a comparison with this against something like my Rover R8, which of course is 30 years old, I keep on banging on about how old it is and how good it is. This does feel quite plasticky and cheap, but does the engine feel good? It pulls quite nicely, I suppose. Yeah, it's quite respectable actually in its performance. Well, how does it handle? With these big wheels on it, you'd expect it to be quite well planted, wouldn't you? Do you know, the trouble is, it doesn't feel anything other than what I was expecting it to feel. It reminds me ever so slightly of a Saab 9.5 I used to have. About the same size, but it doesn't feel quite as... Well, it doesn't feel anywhere near as nice in size. He's going to hate this review. I'm going to have to warn him when I get back. I've slated your car, mate. I'm really sorry. I am as well. Turning around and going back. Now, my friend, whose name begins with a J, was talking about this car quite a lot recently, saying basically that it's got everything you could imagine. And it has. It's got heated seats. Apparently the seats are air cooled with the air conditioning. It's got a fridge. It's got 4 electric windows, as you would expect, and all of the usual modern things that you get in a more modern car. But this is a 59 plate car, so it's only 13 years old this year, so it should be up to standard, let's say. And do I think it's up to standard? This part of the video, I'm actually going to ask his permission before I put it in. I don't think it's up to standard. I think it's quite horrible. It's just so generic feeling. It just doesn't really do anything. The only reason I'm smiling is because I'm laughing at how dreadful it is. That's not what I was expecting. I wasn't expecting to be blown away and amazed by it, but it's just... Oh, it's... So what? It's got everything. It's got all the bells and whistles, but, you know, there's no urge to blow the bells and whistles. It's just... And it's got a bit of a kick from the turbo there, but you get that with every turbo diesel, and you tire of it because you get this punch of power and then that's it. There's no more. The way it drives is adequate. The way it handles, I'm sure, is adequate. But the build quality is shocking, except for these wheels and the heater controls. They're okay. Also, on the back of the steering wheel, I can feel some buttons, and I don't know what they're for. I haven't bothered to look into it, so I'm just pressing them anyway, and nothing's happening. I wonder if they're anything to do with the stereo. Doesn't appear to be. I cannot believe how happy I look, but for such a different reason to how I normally look happy in a car. I'm just so amused by how much I don't like it. Sorry, people.